Hello, my dears. Good evening. Today, 8th of June, 2020, I am back with a new interview in the series Time of the Feminine. And this time, my guest is Johanna Rivera, a friend of mine and also an active member of the community of mothers, foreign mothers here in Oslo. And she lives here for several years, but she is originally from Puerto Rico, and she has the artist soul as her father too. She considers herself a plant intuitive and also an earth and womb wisdom keeper. And I would like to welcome her and to invite her to introduce herself in few sentences. Thank you for accepting to be with me today.
Thank you, dear Irina. It's nice to see you, nice to connect back and share this time together. So, I am a woman, a mother, an environmental and women's rights activist. I am also an intuitive drummer and singer, and I've been reclaiming that lineage recently over the past 2 years. And I also work with plants, wild plants that are growing here around and are becoming back into relationship to the plants, and through connection to the natural world, I became connected into my body and into my intuitive wisdom that I always had, but I guess I left like a bit in the background because I was trained, as a scientist, as an engineer, as a pharmaceutical engineer. So for many years, I lived in kind of more like the do more logical part of my, yeah, self, and now coming more into the listening and to the body, embodiment, intuition, and this other side that often is not considered legitimate or as a wisdom side, that we all have.
Yeah, it's interesting that I had a kind of, I would not call it a quarrel today in a series of messages on Facebook, but it was more an exchange of opinions about how important the intuition is, especially related with the information we get from about this pandemic that is ongoing, right? And I said that I trust my intuition, and a man answered, well, this is, well, he used a very interesting, something about a bias, something that is a bias. And I said, well, actually, I think that my intuition is right. And the bias is the information that is repeated so much, so for so long time, it becomes a bias. And then people wait that we confirm it. So I believe that our intuition, especially the women's intuition, is actually very valid, much more that the scientific or the logical mind wants to recognize, and we actually have to defend it. And about it, I will ask you a question. The first question actually will be about what actually means for you to be a plant intuitive, because you speak about intuition in relationship with the plants that are also life beings, and they have a lot of wisdom. They carry a lot of wisdom that also comes from the connection they have through their roots to the earth, but also to the other elements like the air, the fire from the sun, or the light, and the water, because they need water to grow. So tell us about this a little bit more.
A very deep question. Where to start, huh? um, well, I think for me the most important thing is being reconnecting to the idea that we are nature. We as humans are part of nature, and for a long time, I thought we were humans and nature was nature, and that we were separate. We, yes, depended on each other, but that we were separate. And now more and more, as I am here, in Norway with the plants, with the wild plants, and I'm asked to slow down and listen from my heart, I come to understand that we are the same. We breathe the air and we exhale carbon dioxide that the plants use as their oxygen, right? We, our urine, for example, it's made of phosphate and nitrogen, which are the fertilizers that we are making. Uh, what do you say? Uh, Artificial fertilizers, but our urine, the things that we don't need are made as an fertilizer for the earth. We are made of 75% water. We need the light of the sun, and we're regulated. Our hormones are regulated by the cycles of light and dark. The melatonin is the one that produces all the, other cascade of hormones. If we don't have light, our immune system, our endocrine system cannot work. So all those things make me reassure me that we are nature. And also I've been reading Stephen Harold Brunner. I don't know if you know him. He's written a lot about plant intuition, plant intelligence. And he gives so many examples of how the birds have intelligence, which is of course different than our ability to, interact and communicate. This is a form of intelligence that we are expressing now, but that the birds have a form of intelligence, that they take the seeds, they bury them in the soil, and they calculate exactly 10,000 different spots that they will put their seeds, and they remember where, because they are able to make like 2 reference points to be able to remember where that seed is, that food is. Even when there is snow, when there is change in the landscape, they still can remember how the trees communicate through the root system, how rain is carried and evaporated all up by a specific kind of bacteria that makes it up into the sky, because these bacteria react in the surface of the ocean. So there's many examples of plant intelligence, plant communication. And he speaks also about the heart and how we communicate with our heart. So if we open our heart as a channel of communication, we can be communicating with plants, with the other beings. Maybe I'll leave it there. So
Yeah, I think there would be so many things to be said about this. But I know that you also use the plant kingdom as a resource to create some magic. And so I would like that you speak a little bit about what actually these plants, the flowers, taught you about being feminine, about being connected with your body, and how you create this magic using the plants and the flowers.
Thank you for this question. It's been really magical in one hand, and there's been a lot of lessons on how would I call it, humility and worthiness, that I am worthy to connect, with this plant. Because in the beginning, it was like, who am I to cut this plant, or who am I to, there's so much destruction of the earth, of the nature. Why should I, continue, as a human? So there's a lot of shame in being like human and like the structure. But the plants taught me a lot about uh, being in relationship, that if you're in relationship and if you have consent and if you have a willingness, to listen and to be in relationship, there's that piece of uh, yeah, worthiness of relationship, of giving and receiving. And for example, some of the plants that have been close to me are yarrow and rose, and it's just been sitting with them, listening and talking to them like as if they were, listening. And then what happens is that I kind of like open myself, and I am like a channel, and I receive. There's different people have different intuitive channels, but I hear, like I hear things in, yeah, I don't know how to explain, but there will come a thought, or there will come like a sensation in my body where this plant is telling me where does it work. So with Rose, it's been a lot about the womb, the connection with the womb, the connection to our sensuality and our body. Uh, and yeah, I mean, Rose is also like has thorns. So how the plant is physically also tells you about the medicine. So it's also medicine it's well known to be a medicine of the heart. So it's like protecting the heart, protecting, putting boundaries. So it teaches about, boundaries and being open in the heart and connected to the womb. And I think that's a very important uh, teaching or wisdom of the feminine, connecting to the heart, to the womb, and to the earth. And that's just one example of Rose, which is a very gentle and very yeah, well-known flower. And as in terms of the alchemy, like I'm using a lot of flower essences, and I use also the physical plant to make herbal infused oils. And sometimes I make tinctures with alcohol or vinegar. That's more like the physical aspect of the medicine, but the flower essences are more vibrational. So it's more into the works in our emotional body. So it has no chemical constituents of the plant, but it's like every plant has a personality. Uh, so that's Rose's personality in a way. And then they're giving us that wisdom of their personality, because remember, the flower is the bloom of the plant. It's like the culmination, they've reached their purpose, is the the culmination of the flower.
The
But
bliss.
in that sense, it's has achieved its purpose, and it wants to help us achieve our own purpose.
I actually bought some flower essences. You also use some crystals in some of them, and they are excellent for anointing and for ritual purpose. I use them quite often when I do the circles. Now I do less in person, but well, when it's possible, I like to use them. And they smell also very well. They actually have a good smelling personality, if I can call them like that.
But you have magnolia also, and magnolia
Yeah,
is very.
I love magnolia. Magnolia and roses are among my favorite fragrances, actually. Yeah, I also know that you work a lot with archetypes and with, as you had some scientific background about women's health because of your studies. I know you recently finished a master in this area. I know that you are very passionate about archetypes, especially those that are related with the female world, with the feminine energies. And what I would like to know, if there is any archetype in particular that you like, or that you feel that you are more represented somehow by this archetype, and to just share something about this.
Mm, well, yeah, there are four archetypes, and they're also connected to our vital life cycle. So, in that sense, I'm a mother, or I have like a small child. So, I'm connected in my vital cycle to the mother. But also, you can be connected, throughout the day, throughout the season, throughout the moon, the phases of the moon, throughout the season. So now we are in the kind of in the summer, so it's also archetypally the summer is connected to the mother archetype through your menstrual cycle, I was going to say. So that's connected to fertility, ovulation, but I'm also very much connected to the witch or shaman or enchantress. I don't know, how do you call it in your
Well, you can call them as you wish.
um, yeah, to the witch, the medicine woman, to the spiritual uh, realm. And also when I'm making medicine, it's also much connected to, yeah, to that archetype, to the medicine woman. Uh, and also I'm connected to now with, or doing some work with anger and letting go and healing. So yeah, the witch, the priestess is, the archetype that you invoke when you are like wanting to do some healing work. Uh, I mean, I could say a lot, but I don't know where.
You can say a little bit more. Don't be shy.
um, Also, yeah, with the mother, because I'm wanting to create a lot of circles and offerings, and to keep doing this work of bringing woman in connection to their body. So I feel that's a lot of the mother archetype, this giving and also receiving. That could be a shadow of the mother, that you only want to give, and there creates an imbalance because you can burn yourself because you need to give and receive. So is that inquiry, how much do you give and when and from which place. Like not giving because you want to just be out there, not to fall behind, on what others are creating, but giving from the heart, and also listening for what is needed from you, and when do you need to rest, when do you have more energy to create and give. For example, some, like, I'm still in my menstrual cycle, so the maiden and the mother, I'm like, yes, I will conquer the word, and then when the premenstrual comes, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that, I get very tired when I'm in my premenstrual, and then going into the menstrual part, like you're more inward. So you also have to take that into consideration when you plan your projects and your uh, workshops and ideas, that to do it in from a place that you're in your outward giving, with more full of energy. So I don't know how is it for you with the.
Yeah, but I had some issues with my cycle. I had to put it back to the new moon, and the womb blessing with Tamara helped. I'm still in regulation mode now after several months that it was for full moon. So it was a little bit, yeah, upside down, but now
Mm,
it's getting better. Well, I've learned to balance myself. I'm tracking my cycles monthly, so I can see patterns, I can see repetition, and when I feel it's too much, I slow down and I take some rest. I even take days off from work when I really feel I'm very, very tired. So yeah, I'm much more aware of my body rhythm now. Not so much when I was younger. I was very much into doing, 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 you know.
yeah.
Anyway, this is life. We learn by experience, and more we age or we grow old, as it says, more we understand ourselves, and
Mm,
we try to adjust. Yeah, you say that you are in the mainly now in the mother archetype in your life phase because you are a mother, you have a little girl, I know. And you also live in Norway, which is a Nordic country, and you come from a country that is very much somehow the opposite of Norway, I believe. I've never been to Puerto Rico, but I imagine, and I've heard you singing and drumming, and my feeling is that yes, it's very opposite culture and environment in general, also way of living. So my fourth question for you would be, where, what, where, and still are the main challenges for you as a mother living in a country that is an adoptive country for you because you got a Norwegian husband, right? So how do you feel this living in Norway is a challenge or not so much
mm,
in your own archetype of the mother, to say like that?
yeah, it's a it's a question that I'm still asking, myself constantly. And I was thinking about it just before the interview, because I was thinking my part of my awakening, or like, my reconnection with myself came through becoming a mother, and that happened here in Norway. So what if it had happened in Puerto Rico? Perhaps my circumstances wouldn't have been, because I would be in my patriarchal culture, controlling, where family has, tight control and influence. I mean, not that that's my case specifically, but in general. Uh, so be in here in a way, in a much more open-minded culture, has been positive in a way. And when I was with my daughter, I went for my research for 6 months to Puerto Rico, and I saw the difference in the way children are also controlled. Like, don't do this, don't do that. Dangerous too. Like you have to be always on top of your children, which is not the case here. So, uh, but I still come from that culture, and I was still raised in that culture, and sometimes it comes through me, like all those things that I wouldn't like to do, but that are still there, that need uh, tending and healing, and
So you don't feel so much challenged by living here in Norway. you see it more on the positive side?
Well, no, I mean, there's also like the part that I feel much more isolated here
Mm.
than in my own culture. There's much more connection and interaction and more spontaneity and more, openness here. Everything has to be coordinated and all like booked ahead of time. And I mean, back in my country, my Latin, heritage, everything is more spontaneous, more close, more tight connections, much more focusing in the family. And here is more like focus on individual uh, core families. So, but then the quality of life here is better than in my own country. Like I can walk everywhere. There I need a car to go anywhere, and Aurora has to be on the car seat, to go anywhere. So, and gender equality is a bit better here, although I see a lot of the gender split even, in the Barnehage, like, girls with girls and boys with boys. And when she was in Puerto Rico, she was playing much more with boys than with girls. So, but the culture is much more equal here than in Puerto Rico. So that I also see as an advantage. Yeah, now with this thing with the race and, and she's like a bit whiter in a way because she has the Norwegian, so she will be called the white girl. While there's much more, I don't want to say diversity, but the blend, like much curly hair and darker skin, and she will always be like the white little girl or something. What do you see are some of the, I mean, well, what other challenges are you experiencing? Or
Well, I see mainly the positive sides of having my son brought up here in kindergarten, and now this year in August he will go to school, to his first year of school. So it's quite an interesting beginning. I will have an interesting beginning at work with a new building for the place I work, and then it will be this new place for my son for education. Um, he has a special situation. He needs special support for school. He also needed this in kindergarten, but he's progressing very much because the system here in Norway is very much supportive, and I don't think I would have the same conditions for his education in other countries like Portugal, where he was born, or Romania, that is my native country. So from this point of view, I'm quite pleased to be a mother here. And I also get some money support for the situation. Not a lot, but it's something. It's always better than nothing. But on the other hand, if I would not have my mother to support me and help me with him, being a single mother here, I see it would have been a real big challenge. And I had this challenge when I arrived to Norway because I was alone with him the first time, the first months. And it was very difficult in winter time to travel along the city from home to kindergarten to work, and then run the opposite way, really around the whole city. Because well, it was what it was. But now I'm a little bit more stable, and now we finally have our home, and start to see things in a more positive way. But when you are alone and you come here from a country that, as you said, it's the opposite of Norway, the impact, the cultural, the climatic and gastronomic and other aspects of this impact of this change is very big. And I suppose that for some people it's almost traumatic. For me, it was big, it was difficult, but then I started to recuperate and to see also the brighter sides of living here. So yeah, but of course, when you're alone, a single parent is never easy.
Yeah.
It's difficult to perform both roles. But this interview is not about me. Thank you for the question. It's mainly about you and how you see the feminine energies inside yourself and around you, because you are also working for the empowering of the feminine and for the goddess as a general mission, to call it like that. And I know that, as you said, you're a mother, you have a daughter, and she's still very young. I'm not sure how old is she. 7?
It's like your son. She's gonna be 6 now next.
Mine is 7. Mine is going with 7. 1 year of difference. So she's 6. She will, have this transition now to a different period of her life. But let's suppose that she is at her puberty already. So she is almost to become a woman. Imagine as a scenario, of course, it will happen one day in several years. And you are a mother, and you are her mother, but you already work for several years with women and with plants and with the earth and the womb. So what would you like to say or to leave as a legacy, as a message from your heart and also from the wisdom of your womb to your daughter? What this would be?
Yeah, that her body is her joyous companion, that it's there to be, a wise conduit of the feminine, that she can cultivate a connection with it, listen to it, take care of it, not it, of her, because the body is her, to take care of her, honor the times of rest, honor her bleeding time as a time of honoring the capacity to bring life, and to honor the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, because every month we die to the possibility of having a child, of bringing a child, and then are born again. Every month we go through this cycle, and that her blood is not dirty, that her blood is not something that goes into the trash, that it's a reminder of her capacity to gestate and give life, and that no matter what other people say or what society say or the medical system says, she has the ultimate decision over her body, or whatever her partner says. She is the owner of, the whatever happens to her body, that she needs to make, or I would like to give her all the information to make an informed decision about her health, her well-being, because our cycle is like our scorecard. It gives us, the information of whatever is going well and it's not going so well in our body. Ovulation is the sign of health because it promotes progesterone, which is regulating many many processes in our bodies, our thyroid function, our temperature, yeah, many. It's our calming hormone. So if we don't ovulate, we feel like something is out of balance. So yeah, I would try to cultivate in her. I don't have complete full, uh, you know, say because she's influenced. We are as women living in a patriarchal society. We have influenced a lot from society. So I hope I can get a good time now to, to educate her and while she's still young and she, sees me as an example. I hope I can give her a good, can be a good, how do you say, model for her because she will get other information out there. There's a lot of misinformation. So I hope to be in a good position to tell her that, her body is not faulty, is not nothing wrong, that when there is some pain in her period or in her cycle, it means there's something that is out of balance. And sometimes what I wanted to say maybe now is that we think we have full control if we do yoga or if we meditate or if we rest. These are good self-preservation, self-care strategies, but we live in a social, cultural, political context that influences the way we live our menstruation and the ways we are healthy or not healthy. So it's a political, our health as women, it's a political endeavor. It's a political issue. Menstruating is a political issue in this time specifically.
Well, but we always can make a difference by saying these things to those that are close to us and informing also other people around us who are available or to listen or who are open to listen to these different points of view. And that's why we actually work with women and we try to organize all these circles and workshops because we feel that there is a valid information that it's out there and needs to be heard, needs to be made more visible. And things will change. There is a shift happening and it will take several years. But I think that our mission as mother is to actually educate our children towards this change so they can be already one step ahead of their own times. And they will bring forward this legacy one day. That's what I hope. I know you have a very beautiful voice. I've heard you singing and drumming several times. I understand now how much talent you got from your own father. Would you like to sing for us or to sing to your daughter? Just a little song just to end this interview, because then I have a small gift for you. But yeah, I know your voice. You can, if you feel inspired, you can sing something. I love your drum. You should explain what that drawing is on the drum.
I will explain here. Somos medicina, mujeres medicina, cantando y danzando, despertando en esta vida. Somos medicina, mujeres medicina, cantando y danzando, despertando en esta vida. Crecemos siendo niñas, sabias abuelitas, mujeres creadoras, poderosas, sanadoras. no guíe nuestro camino con confianza y entrega hacia nuestro destino. Somos medicina, mujeres medicina, cantando y danzando, despertando.
Very nice. Yeah.
She's Atabeira, is the Taino indigenous deity,
Oh,
fertility,
beautiful.
like the mother archetype in one of my lineages, the Taino Indian.
Beautiful. I always admire it, but I didn't understand what was represented.
She's squatting, in the position to give birth.
I'm sorry, I got a little bit of tears and I feel my eyes burning now. I will always get emotional when there is a nice voice and song. Let's see if it's going away. I have a small gift for you too, as you delighted us with this song. And oh my God, it's burning. This is a book I bought some time ago. I don't know if you can see it. It is called The Good Witch's Guide. You are a witch, as you said. It's called a modern day Wikipedia of magical ingredients and spells. Very nice. I was drawn to it by the title and the good witch, because I also consider myself a good witch. Oh my God, I'm still yeah, I think I had something in my eyes. It's burning. And I found something that I think it's quite interesting that you might want to try, because it's witchcraft, a tradition taught by a shaman couple. And it's called, I will read it, Kala ceremony. The first cleansing ritual is called the Kala ceremony, a ritual of cleansing with light. It comes from the fairy tradition of witchcraft as taught by American shaman Victor Anderson and his wife Cora Anderson. Materials: water and a drinking glass. So it's very simple. I think any person can do it. And the ritual says like that. Pour some water into a glass and hold the glass in front of you. Start to focus deeply on all of the things that are stressful and upsetting in your life, and let yourself feel all the emotions within you that are attached to these issues. When your focus and emotions are at their most intense place, put them into your gut. Force the emotions out and into the glass in one large breath of air, almost like you are vomiting away all of the negativity within you and projecting it directly into the glass. Imagine the negativity inside the glass transforming into a gray egg. As it sits in the water, envision the egg dissolving into a rainbow. Watch the water transform the negativity into a positive light. Once you see the rainbow of light, drink the water. Feel the rainbow of light filling your entire body. See it removing any obstacles from your path. When you have consumed the water, say this spell. By the power of the rainbow light, all negativity, frustrations, and anxiety are transformed into energy that I can use for myself. So this is a spell or a Kala ceremony that is to cleanse with the light or with the rainbow light inside the glass of water. Oh, I was saying I'm raining tears, but no, it's just tears. It's not the rain. Yeah. So thank you again for being with us. It was very nice to have your testimonial and your presence. I always enjoy your company also when we have our sikas. I'm looking forward for the next one. I know we have one soon with you, and we are going to deal with anger. So I am very much into processing and cleansing some of the anger, because there were some issue lately that came back to me, and I think part of them are also accumulating in the energy field of the collectivity, because as we are sensitive beings, we are sensitive not only to plants and animals and humans, but also to all the energies that are around us. And sometimes, with all the situations of crisis in the world, they accumulate in the field of Earth, and we start to sense them. So I think it's important that actually women like you and me and others, that we work with rituals and circles, that we can actually work and focus on this negativity, but from the perspective of actually releasing, transforming it. Because we have all these alchemical tools, we have this knowledge, this wisdom to do it, and we need to work for this to happen. Otherwise, it will only be an escalation of negativity and anger and frustration. And the only way to actually live inside our body is to handle also this negativity and to purify it somehow through the body presence and circulation of emotions and embodiment techniques and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for these circles of yours, and you can count with me. Do you want to tell something else, or we can just close the session for today?
I want to thank you, and I want to, say that your work is valuable, our work is valuable, our work is important, and we are calling women to come back to their bodies, to their inner compass, to their intuition, to their heart, to their heart. It's not easy to live from this
And to
space.
their wombs too. The connection between
Yeah,
heart and wombs,
yeah,
very much
heart
needed.
and womb.
Because the heart feels and the womb transforms. And when we are open in between, then we start to see the rainbow more often in
Yeah,
our
that's
life,
right.
just to use a metaphor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you for your gift of singing. It was beautiful. It made me very emotional. That's why I cried while I was reading the small ritual for you.
Mhm.
And yes, keep doing your good work as a good witch you are. And thank you all for seeing us for this interview, and keep tuned for the next one, because there will be another one in the second half of June with another good witch, a priestess healer, but I'm not going to say more now. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.